Taiwan is bracing for impact as Super Typhoon Krathon approaches from the southwest. President Lai Ching-te is urging citizens to stay alert and avoid traveling to the mountains. Krathon has been growing in strength as it makes a rare swing towards Taiwan's west coast, where 90% of the country's population lives. On Taiwan's mountainous east coast, where the outer edge of the typhoon first swung past on Monday, heavy rains caused mudslides and blocked roads. 2 major airports there have grounded all planes. Outbound trains from the region have also been stopped. The storm is expected to make landfall on Wednesday morning and cut across the island to the northeast, bringing with it potentially deadly winds and rain. Our reporter Rick Glauert is live for us down in Kaohsiung, where the storm is expected to strike first. Rick, how's it looking there?
Well, it had been the calm before the storm here in Kaohsiung today. Light wind, light rain, but the weather is now deteriorating and the waves here in Kaohsiung harbour, they're picking up. This city of more than 2 million people, of course, bracing for what could become the storm of a generation, and there are concerns that waves like these could turn into a storm surge, causing widespread flooding. Residents here doing what they can to protect their homes, their property from that flooding. They're putting out sandbags, barricading doors and windows. Well, the government has prepared dozens of shelters for people if they have to leave their home. Officials tell me there are enough space for 30,000 people. Meanwhile, outside of the city in mountainous areas prone to flooding and landslides, evacuations have already begun. This 82-year-old retired farmer has had an uncomfortable night's sleep here on the floor of her local community centre. She was reluctant to leave her home, forced to evacuate as Super Typhoon Krathon barrels towards her home in the mountains of southwest Taiwan. The Super Typhoon is expected to bring intense wind and rain to this area over the next few days. This community centre has been turned into a temporary refuge for those seeking shelter from Typhoon Krathon. About 20 people spent the night here where they're given food and a place to rest. That's because there's risks of floods and landslides in the region which could knock out roads, leaving people stranded and damaging homes and property. More than 1,000 people have been evacuated in this county alone. Across the country, Taiwan has mobilized more than 40,000 troops to aid in evacuation and rescue efforts.
敬请大家能够配合。第一个就是我们一定要秉持救灾不如防灾，防灾不如避灾的精神。事先在台风还没有真正进来之前。
Krathon has been growing in strength as it makes a rare swing around towards Taiwan's west coast. The storm is expected to make landfall on Wednesday. Already, schools and offices in some parts of the country are closed, flights are cancelled, and the major East Coast rail line halted. And out at sea, the country's Coast Guard lifted sailors to safety after their ship took on water. As Krathon edges towards Taiwan, residents of Kaohsiung, Taiwan's third largest city and home to more than 2 million people, are bracing for a storm surge, the city distributing a record number of sandbags.
我们家里都有准备那个粮食啊，也有手电筒，那些都有准备，希望不要断电。
Taiwan is no stranger to disasters like typhoons, but a storm of this size hasn't directly hit the south in decades. As the wind picks up and the rain intensifies, residents here face an uneasy night, hoping that their preparations will prove enough come morning. The typhoon is still some 200 kilometres off this coast, and it hasn't moved much in the last few hours, but it still packs a punch. It's still a very strong typhoon, and it's projected to hit Taiwan in urban areas like this one.